first thing I did is took two strips of 2.5 inch, and that'll be for these two right here. And I sewed it along the 1/4 inch seam, so I've got my straight piece here. And then all I do is cut these at 2.5 inches like this. So I need 4 of these. What I'll do is sew them on here. So you'll have 2 that go like so. So it'll be down this side. It'll be red to white, red to white. And then for the other 2, it will be white to red, just like this. So I'll go sew those real quick. Okay, so it ends up looking like this. And then all I do here is one, okay, so this one would be this one. And this one is this one. That one. And then this one. Okay. Then we go to the centerpiece. And the centerpiece, what we cut with first off is finding my ruler. Okay. Remember that this, if you're fuzzy cutting, just make sure that the top and bottom are on the points. So, like something close to that. And this square is 4.5 inches. Yeah. Okay. So this square is your 4.5 inch center section here, this piece right here. And then these are each 2 inches, or 2.5 inches, I'm sorry. And all you do, the easiest way to do it is draw your line through the center. Oops, that didn't quite go right. There we go. Of each of these. what you'll do is you will stitch them on the first two. I do like this. And then you stitch corner to corner. I'll quickly do that. Okay. Then what you'll do next is take a ruler and just cut that corner off. There. Like so. And then we'll take and press each of these back. I'll iron it right before I take it to the machine, but so you'll press these back like so, and then the next ones you stitch on these two corners like right here and here, and I'll take care of that real quick. And then I'm back, and again, just right along here, just 1/4 inch from your seam. Same thing here. And then you will press these out, like so. And I'm going to put a quick iron on it. And the last thing you'll do on this piece is just trim it out to 4.5 inch square, and that will take care of your centerpiece here. And then comes the fun one. So to do these blocks, what I did is I cut 2 squares that are 3-inch squares, a 4.5 inch square, which is a centerpiece, and then a strip of 2.5 inch, which will be these pieces right here. And the first thing I did is I took my yellow, or this piece right here, and I folded it in half. Just kind of give it a little bit of a crease, and then take your pen, or use chalk because this side is the side up, and then take your ruler, and what you want to do here is mark a 1/4 inch up from the edge and just create a little T here so that you've got your little mark. And then what you'll do on the strip is again put a mark for your 1/4 inch seam, which for me is give or take about right here. Now what you're going to do is take this and sew your seam from the corner here so that that 1/4 inch mark lines up right on that cross that we just made. And I'll turn this to the sewing machine. My first seam goes from here to here. So what I do is I line up the edge of the fabric right here so that the 1/4 inch seam is actually a little bit over, and then just slide it under my machine, get my pieces lined back up, then I put my presser foot down, and then I reline up down to my cross. There we go. Then I just stitch right along here. press it over like so. And I'm just gonna whack off a piece of it here to get it out of the way. And then I'll steam it. There we go. And now we do the other part of the V the same way. Take from the corner here, like so, right down to the cross. And again, make sure everything's lined up. Okay, and again, this will be pressed out. And all I'm going to do is just kind of roughly cut it to size here. That way my pieces are out of the way. Now I'm going to go back to the cutting board. Well, first I'll use the iron, and I'll take my ruler, and I can see my fabric underneath of the plate. So what I want to do is square this off. And then across the bottom, doing the same thing. I can see the yellow through the white. I cut that piece off, and then I do the same thing over here. And take the little wings off. Okay, and then open it up. And what you're going to do is cut your yellow right along the seam to give you a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And do the same thing to this side over here. Okay. And now the last part is these pieces right here. These are 3 inches, and as you can see, it comes up a little higher than I expected. So once you put the blocks together, it'll come into about 1/4 inch right here. So that's about how high the point will be. If you want it a little bit lower, just make the squares a little bit smaller. If you do 2.5, your points will come up lined up exactly to the points on the red here. But all you do is lay it here. Well, the easier way is mark your fabric right across. Oops. Come on. There we go. And then what you'll do is lay this on here, and you'll stitch here, and then once you've got it stitched, what you'll do is you'll press it off to the side. Now, before you press it, it's easier. Take and cut right along that seam that you just sewed, a 1/4 inch towards the corner here, like so. Then press it over. And you're still keeping your square block. And then this one, you're going to do the same thing. You'll line up the corners here just like so. And then you'll stitch right along your line again. And then ruler, take your 1/4 inch corner to corner. And you press it over. I messed up. I see it should have been sewed on this corner. Let's try this one more time. I recut the fabric because I actually want to put this piece together. So again, my 3-inch square, my 2 square blacks, my white, and I'm working with scraps here, so first thing we do is your 1/4 inch. And we'll go ahead and do a second piece here just so that I have enough. And then on our yellow piece, like I showed you earlier, we fold it in half and just press so that you get the center. And then mark that. And then what you'll do is come in here with 1/4 inch and mark a little mark here. That way you have your little T. And then what we will do is sew along here. There we go. Okay. So that my seam crosses right on my dot. Then I slide this in here. And stitch. Grab my seam roller. Other piece of fabric and do the same thing along here. And again, just cross my point here, come up here to my V. Okay, and then we press this out like so. Use the iron. And what we will do is come across the bottom, and then using the yellow underneath as a guide. Side. Same thing on this side. And then take off the ears. Okay, now to do this the right way, what I do is sew down here. So we take our chalk and again we mark corner to corner. Before we start here, on the back side here, remember to cut your yellow. And do the same thing on this side. Sew across here and then across like so. And I'll take this back. First one, we'll line up our point here, here. Is just cut roughly a 1/4 inch here. Then I'll press this over. And now it's looking right. Do the same thing to this one. This over to the other side. There we go. Now, there we go. Now we've got all 4 of the diamonds, the 4 corners, and our centerpiece. And then all you do last is just put them all together. And I would, before I actually use this, I would trim these all to 4.5 inches so that they fit, but I'm not going to do that just for this. This one. So. Put these together real quick. Middle row. And then I'll put these together real quick. And there we go. And then like so. And then the last one goes like so. Here we go. So all 4 corners right where they are. My diamonds actually look better. It came out perfect after I put my seaming together. So right here and here, the overlap looks perfect. And then the last thing I would do is just trim this to, I believe 12.5 by 12.5 is what it should come out at. Can't see my numbers. My seam allowances are off a little. quilt block.